I'm here to introduce our moderator, and they will be here to tell you about how they have developed their legacy and chose legacy over luxury. So, our dynamic moderator is Miss Bridget Newsom. Bridget is a Bridget is a dynamic leader, strategic problem solver, and a community advocate with a proven track record in executive administration, city governance, and real estate development. I'm gonna add one in there, and being a big sister. Uh, she has adopted me, even though she tried to put me out her office when we first started working together. I don't accept no for an answer real easy. So now she is stuck with me for life. So outside of being a real estate developer and all the other things, she's also an awesome big sister. A lifelong resident of Little Rock, Arkansas, Bridget's passion for service, empowerment, and purposeful living is deeply rooted in her upbringing and professional journey. Bridget studied finance at the University of Arkansas at Little Rock, equipping her for the financial acumen and business insight that have that have guided her success across both the public and private sectors. She's the founder and owner of Be Inspiring, a multifaceted brand encompassing several ventures dedicated to elevating lives and community. Under Be Inspiring, Bridget leads Be Inspiring Travel and Be Inspiring Designs. Be Inspiring Travel is a luxury travel agency catering to the discerning traveler seeking to have meaningful and well curated experiences. And Be Inspiring Designs is a real estate development firm committed to creating thoughtfully designed and functional living spaces that blend affordability with quality, ensuring residents have homes that are both beautiful and sustainable. Please welcome to the stage Ms. Bridget Newsom.
Thank you, April. Hey, how y'all doing? Good. Okay, I'm glad. I'm glad. As April said, my name is Bridget Newsom, and I have the distinct pleasure of serving as the executive assistant in my 9 to 5 role as the executive assistant to Mayor Frank Scott Jr. I want to thank April, who is the committee chair for Capital Con, for allowing this opportunity, and Kimberly Lee for thinking about me when it was time to moderate this particular panel. Like I said, I work for Mayor Frank Scott as his executive assistant, but my after hours pleasure is and passion is owning and managing my own businesses. Um, but for 25 years, I was a stay at home mom, or as the young people say these days, hashtag SHAM or trad wife. So I was the original OG in those spaces. Long before social media, long before TikTok made all of that the thing to do, I was at home managing my family, taking care of my kids, budgeting and organizing our home, and supporting my own husband in his entrepreneurial ventures. Um, but after that, I still had dreams of some things that I would like to do. That's why I love the entrepreneurial spirit. It's contagious. Watching him and seeing him being his own boss, making his own decisions, and hiring people and being responsible for those people and expanding, that was motivation to me to do what I had, what I felt like was my gift, and to give back. And that's what legacy over luxury represents. It's about purpose over possessions, stewardship over status, and thinking beyond the moment. It's about planting seeds that grow long after we're gone. So today's conversation is going to bring all of that to light with the voices of entrepreneurs and family leaders who have inherited, expanded, and redefined legacy in powerful ways. So let's get to it. Our first panelist is Miss Jacinda Jones. She is the Jacinda is the owner of Aretha's Beverages. She is an entrepreneur blending tradition with innovation, and her passion for preparing and sharing food began in her grandmother's kitchen. where she learned that good food brings people together. After the passing of her grandmother, Aretha Pearson Jones, Jacinda and her family continued the family's catering business to honor her legacy. In 2017, Jacinda launched Aretha's Beverages, a modern, ready to drink, non alcoholic beverage brand inspired by her grandmother's original recipes. With a focus on heritage and connection, Aretha's Beverages reimagines Southern hospitality for a new generation, celebrating culture, flavor, and community, one sip at a time. In the audience with Jacinda is Dr. William Greenfield, who is Vice President of Aretha's Beverages. Please welcome Jacinda Jones. Next, we have Harvey Williams, who is the co founder and CEO of Delta Dirt Distillery. Harvey is an Arkansas Delta native, an innovative entrepreneur creating award winning spirits from ingredients grown on his fourth generation family farm. He and his wife, Donna, co founded Delta Dirt Distillery in 2017, turning a family legacy into a nationally recognized brand. Their sweet blend vodka was named one of the most world's best vodkas by Forbes magazine in San Francisco World Spirits Competition. Harvey's yes. Harvey's commitment to community is reflected in his company's tagline, Raising Spirits in the Delta, and through his service on multiple boards, including the Phillips County Chamber of Commerce and the University of Arkansas College of Engineering Advisory Council. Please welcome Harvey Williams. And last, but most certainly not least, a really good friend of mine, Teresa Timmons. Teresa Timmons is the founder of Timmons Arts Foundation. She is a dedicated leader who is passionate about fostering the arts and supporting youth development. She is also the founder of West Wind School of Performing Arts. Both Timmons Arts Foundation and West Wind School of Performing Arts both reflect her strong commitment to arts education and community enrichment. Her family previously owned the Metroplex Event Center and now owns the venue at West Wind. Teresa also founded and executive produces the premier fashion show of the South, Designer's Choice Fashion Preview, Arkansas's largest annual fashion event benefiting her foundation's programs. Teresa is a U.S. Army veteran. Thank you for your service. She also works to continue the impact on youth education and family entrepreneurship across Central Arkansas. In the audience with Teresa is Mrs. Timmons, otherwise known as Mama Timmons. So, thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for being here. Let's get to it. First question. This is for you, Teresa. Yes. What does the phrase legacy over luxury mean to you personally? And how does it show up in your work or your family life?
Legacy over luxury means priority, right? Prioritizing. Personally, prioritizing my family, prioritizing traditions, prioritizing community. Those are all more important to me than short term material things. We're not from here. So, my mom will tell you, my mom and dad moved here in the early 90s. And so we're transplants. And so my mom made it her personal mission to get all of her children here to Arkansas. And so she's always shown by example how important family is and how she prioritizes us. She's even gotten my aunts here. So my aunts now live here. And so we're so connected. And in addition to that, she's always shown us by example the importance of community. And if you look her up, she's everywhere. She's always giving back. She's always a part of building the communities that she lives in. And so for us, it's always people first. Your best investment are in people over things. My mom always says, stuff is stuff. Things are things, they come and they go. But you always invest in people.
That's a good saying. Stuff is stuff, and stuff does come and go. But like what she said, when you invest in people, those things stay with you. They go on for generations. We talk about when I think about legacy over luxury, I think about just family traditions,
Yeah.
and so that's a tradition in your family to always value people over stuff and to give back into your community. I like that. I like that.
Thank you.
So, Miss Jacinda, how do you define legacy within your own family or business? Was there a moment when you realized you were part of something meant to last beyond one generation?
How do I define that? I believe that what I've been given to do, it's a legacy of emotion. Food always brings people together. And when you can bring people together and they can be happy, you know, that is a lot. They always say, teachers know it for a fact. You can't get to a child if they're hungry, right? Same thing for adults. And so to be able to continue to do what my grandmother did is awesome. Um, when she lived in a home, a house in Granny Mountain, and there were projects near that. And there were people who were my friends just to get a meal. I didn't realize that, but she understood that. And I feel like with me continuing on what she's doing, what she did, I'm trying to, I'm kind of helping extend that part of her. And the second part of your question was, what was your second part?
Was there a moment when you realized you were part of something meant to last beyond just one generation?
So when I took over her catering business, I was just doing it just to be connected to her. It wasn't about a legacy. It was just I miss my grandma, and I remembered how we used to just be in wherever kitchen, the governor's mansion, at the Rockefeller's house, wherever, and just being around her, cooking and moving and being little and growing up and being in those environments. So when she passed, I was like, I miss her. So how do I connect with her? Go back in the kitchen. So I reached out to Mary Weldron, who owned RSVP Catering at the time, who my grandmother worked with. And I said, can I just come in your kitchen and just be? She said, yeah. And that bug just kind of bit me, and it stayed with me. And so I still stayed connected with her, remembering those recipes of how she did. There was no measuring cups. It was, it was a rhythm to what she did. And so, yeah, did I answer the question?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Yes, you did. And that kind of brings me to my next question because it didn't, Aretha's Beverages did not start out, it started in your grandmother's kitchen, but it wasn't something that you guys said, we're going to do this to make money or to bring financial comfort to our house. This was something that you guys started, you got into the kitchen with her so that you could be closer to her, spend more time with her, develop those traditions that we're talking about, ways to connect as a family. So, Harvey, let me ask you this question. Many people equate success with comfort or status. What helped you shift your focus from material success to meaningful generational impact?
Well, I like nice things too.
Don't we all?
Yeah. Really, for me, it was I grew up on a farm. So when you grow up on a farm, you are used to getting your meals from what you grow. I mean, we grew up picking purple hull peas and okra and squash, and our deep freeze was always full. We would kill a cow or a hog and share that with the community. So I grew up knowing where life and substance really came from. And we've been on that farm for, like I said, 4 generations. My great grandfather, my granddad, and then I grew up on that farm, knowing the meaning of family and food and togetherness. Um, and when I came back and started this business, I really didn't recognize the legacy that I was carrying on for my family when I first started this business. I just wanted to do something with the farm. It meant so much to me. So for us to use the ingredients that we grow to create a spirit that people can enjoy, I thought that was it. But what I did know is we're taking the farm to the next level beyond my great-grandfather, my granddad who bought the farm using cotton that he grew and moonshine that he made, my dad who transitioned that farm from a cotton farm to a vegetable operation, and now to use that farm to produce something that people can buy at the retail store across this country, which is it's pretty amazing. And then my sons are involved in the business, and I see what they don't see yet, but they're going to be able to take this farm and this business to their children, my grandchildren, which I don't have yet. I'm pulling for that. But it lives on beyond me, and that's what I believe legacy is, living beyond you. Not just the stuff. It's the business allows you to get stuff, but the legacy allows you to have connection to family and community.
So let me just ask a question. Jacinda, why do you think that's important? Why do you think that it's important to um, invest in the legacy as opposed to the luxury of it? Why do you think that's important?
Why do I feel like that's important? You know, whenever you are, right now, this country is going through a lot, right? Um, and whenever we go through a lot, just as individuals, I think we all have this trait that we do. We go to things that are familiar to us. It might be macaroni and cheese. It might be a good drink. Um, and so to continue something that, because let me just go back a little bit. So my grandmother created those beverages um, when she was in a little farm in Atkins, Arkansas. She provided drinks for those folks who were out in the field because her daddy gave her two choices, work in the field or come in the kitchen. And she said, I'm gonna work in the kitchen. She provided a beverage for those people to quench their thirst later. And so that was her why. That motivated her to be a provider of something. And she grows up, comes to Little Rock, and she's still doing her thing. And in that home in Granite Mountain, she people just kind of flocked over there to her home. And you know what? I have so many thoughts. I'm on the right track, right? I'm on the right track on what I'm talking about.
Yes, you are.
I mean, legacy is just, it's a big definition,
It is.
and her roots go deep, and how she worked the city of, in the state of Arkansas. So people just kind of flocked to her home. And when I say flock to her home, I mean, and we didn't understand why they were flocking to her home, because she provided something. That same thing that she provided when she was a little girl, she provided something that was needed, a sense of community. When I say you living in Granite Mountain, all black neighborhood, one of the first black neighborhoods in the city of Little Rock, where there were all types of economic backgrounds that lived there because they put us all in one big bowl, basically. She had judges, she had our former presidents, she had former secretaries of states coming into her yard, fish frying. And in that little home that's less than 1,200 square feet, people came over there to absorb something that she had to offer. And
It was a sense of community.
a sense of
It was a
community.
sense of community
Yeah.
that moved beyond her 1,200 square foot home
Yeah.
out into the yard and then into the neighbor's yard and then from there on down the street and then on down the block. It was a sense of community.
Yes.
And like you said, your grandmother had senators and doctors and judges and lawyers and presidents,
Sitting in her front yard.
people that were going to be presidents come to eat at her table in that 1,200 square foot house in Granite Mountain. And that's what it's about, building that sense of community and passing that legacy on to our children, because once you're gone, that's still here.
And people still need that. So you try to be an example of that. You try to be an example of that because people still need that comfort, at least to know how to do that comfort. You can't come to my house, but maybe you can take what my grandmother shared with me and I can share it with you and you can share it with your other people. And it's contagious, hopefully.
Okay, so Teresa, what values and traditions or principles were instilled by your family and your faith that continue to guide how you operate today?
Can you repeat that? Like, that's a long question.
What values, traditions, or principles were instilled by your family or faith that continue to guide how you operate today?
Faith, family, finance. And that's it for us. Faith, family, finance, and community. And so that's how we operate as a family, and we always have. We're a faithful family. We're Christians. We are a tight-knit family. It's us over everything, right? Like we work together, we play together, and my family has always, my parents have always put into us that, you know, no matter what, we stay together and we stick together. And again, not in just words, but just in action, right? We all move together. And so with that, we build together. So after you solidify that we are a family and we all we got, and we're together, we're gonna work to build together. And my father started that with his entrepreneurial efforts, and my mom continued it with building the event venue and brought my brother into it, me into it, and my brother brought his children into it, right? And so we just continue on bringing and building up each one. And the kids don't even realize what's happening, right? My nephews grew up. If you were ever at the Metroplex, you see them riding around on scooters around the building. And so they grew up in that, and so they're learning by what they see in us. And so my niece is the same way. We had an event last night, my nephew and my niece, they're both out there working. And so we're building each other up, not only personally and as a family, but as professionals in a business, right? And that's all of that. In community, we always give back. And we do that through our foundation, the Timmons Arts Foundation. We make sure that we are building up other communities and other individuals to help them and employ them and mentor them and support them. So it's faith, it's family, it's finance, it's community.
Right, I love that. I love that. Because that's important. If you have children, if you're an auntie, a TT, or whatever the case may be, a mom, an uncle, a cousin, you know, that is important to instill that to the people in the generation that's coming behind you, because they are the future.
Absolutely.
So I love that. Family, faith, I love that. Community. All right, Mr. Harvey. How do you balance honoring your family's traditions with introducing new ideas or directions that keep your business relevant?
Let me first start by saying I'm in the perfect place. I've got faith on my left and love on my right, because when she was talking about her grandmother's home, I mean, that was love that was drawing people there. It really was. new technologies, innovation. This business is really built from traditional farming, traditional things that we eat, uh, but it also has the innovation of turning a sweet potato into an alcohol, which you still can't go to the spirit store today and find that. So we've done something that traditionally is not done. Um, we find that people are intrigued by that concept, and I think we have to start rethinking um, what we're able to do in terms of entrepreneurship and the next generation. Because farming, this is Arkansas in general, really is a farming community. It's an agricultural state. You go outside of Little Rock and go outside of the metro areas, then we're a rural community. But I think I think agriculture has the opportunity to transform into something that people enjoy. It's value add. My dad always talked about doing something value added, and he was essentially saying, give people what they want. Give something that's going to improve their lives, something that's going to make life easier for them. And when we start thinking about agriculture in these new innovative ways, you can create products, you can get young people engaged in agriculture and farming and things that they wouldn't normally think of. There's businesses that can be created. We're introducing new technology now where we've got our own canning line. So we're starting to do some canning of our own cocktails. And that got introduced because my son said, hey, we should try this now as a dad and owner of this business. I'm like, well, let me see if that's what we should be doing. But as a legacy company and you have the next generation, you have to train them and give them some space to explore, make some mistakes, at least to the extent where you can control those. I'm so excited that he is interested in doing new things. We're buying a new piece of equipment now that's allowing us to scale in the same footprint with a piece of equipment that does both processing and distilling in that same piece of equipment. Those guys went to the Netherlands to train on that. So I think technology is, everybody talks about AI now. AI is coming, just like the internet was coming when I was coming out of high school. It's going to be part of our life in the future. We just got to figure out how to adopt it, how to embrace it, and how to leverage it for your business and help make lives better for the people that you're serving.
And yes, young people, the internet has not always been here. Just so you know, some of us on this stage, we know that. But speaking of that, let me just ask this question. What were some of the growing pains or leadership challenges you faced stepping into an established family enterprise? And that's for anybody on the stage. What were some of the challenges that you faced? I mean, you've got this, you are a part of a fourth generation family that was farming, and you moved from that to the distillery business. There had to be some challenges that you can share because this is an established business, and for 4 generations, you were farmers. Now you've moved into manufacturing.
I mean,
Alcohol.
I'll start with that question. I think you have to be open to what's next. And what's next is not what you had before and what got you there. And that's why you want to have young entrepreneurial minds around you because they bring a lot to the table. I have two sons that work in the business. They're 29 and 33-year-old young men. And I put them in settings where they are having to, help me make decisions, see me make decisions, be a part of what the future of this business is going to be, because one day they're going to be sitting there, hopefully having that next generation sitting there with them. And I asked them, there are problems that come up in this business, and I want their input. I want their engagement. And sometimes I already know what the answer is or what I think the answer is, But we still need to go through the exercise and go through the process because they need to learn. They need to understand that you have to solve problems, and problems are going to be there. And there's no problem that's insurmountable. We're going to get through it. We're going to figure it out. So that to me is preparing for the next. My dad was proud of us when we opened this business. Yeah, it's different than what he was doing. And then he was even doing something different than his dad was doing. So this is an evolution thing, right? Yeah.
Definitely an evolution thing. So, Jacinda, many assume that inheriting a business is easier than starting one from scratch. What is the biggest misconception about that?
Yeah, it is a misconception that it's easier to be given something than to start something. Because you have people who remember it when it was like, when it was like, when it was like. And then you have those that don't know what it was like. So you're trying to mix those two and make everybody happy, you know. So to be given versus to start up, I definitely think it's depends on where you are. It depends on where you are, what your mindset is. And again, I just tripped into this, and it just kind of evolved. And so I've taken it in a different direction with the beverages. And so I think for me, it was easier to be given because it helped the establish what was already there, you know, because I got feedback from people that she worked with, that she did things with. So when she was gone, there were still voices that were still speaking through other people. You know, she was speaking to other people, to me, I felt, you know. And so I had something to lean on, people to lean on, and just being hands-on, you know, it was also easy, you know, to kind of pick up some things. So definitely your want to gonna have to want to, you know, regardless of what end that you are, if you're given or if you're starting it up. Because your first want to, I just want to, because whatever. But then that want to gonna get tired, and the other want to gonna have to stand up and be strong, because yeah, and now you're gonna have to maybe have a third want to. You know, so it just keeps building, you know, so yes.
That's good. I like that. So, Teresa, let's shift gears just a little bit. Let's talk about financial lessons or missteps. Um, what financial lessons or missteps have shaped your approach to money management and stewardship?
There's been a lot. I think when you're in business, there's a lot of things that you learn along the way, right? I think we all make we all are eager to put our best foot forward, invest in different things. So investments that were made that we were excited about but didn't go through. One of the best things that we did when we were growing our business was to create a business plan. Um, and we did that later than what we should have. We should have done it years earlier. But I'm telling you, we went to UALR. What was it, Mom? The business center? I think it was the business center at huh? AS, them. We went we went to, I think it's ASBTC, at UALR, and they were just amazing in helping us really sit down and create a comprehensive business plan that not only that we can take to our banks to get financial support, but also bring awareness to us, to where we sit in this space today, you know, and moving forward, if we can buy, if we can build, you know, what it looks like around us demographically, like what other businesses like ours are around. So if anyone hasn't and they're an entrepreneur and you really want to grow your business and just understand where your business stands in this landscape, get a business plan. I mean, I think that's one of the best decisions that we made in business. And in finance, I think just really learning and researching how to move your money, right? Um, Everyone thinks, you know, when you're an entrepreneur, you have something that you're millionaires, right? Oh, they're millionaires. They have a lot of money. We have a lot of debt too, right? And so just understanding that and just really learning and understanding how to move your money.
That's good. That's really good. That Small Business Development Center, we need to put that out on our website so that when you come to CapitalCon website for more information. It's the same thing that I did. They wrote my business plan for me. They helped me to map out how I wanted to obtain my goals. We started talking about my business. So if you have not visited, and it's free, it's
Free.
100% free. So if you have not visited the Small Business Development Center at the University of Arkansas at Little Rock, right here in our city, and you are an entrepreneur, you are missing out. That's step one. That's entrepreneurship 101. Okay. So, okay, Mr. Harvey, let me ask you the same question. What financial lessons or even missteps have shaped your approach to money management and stewardship in your business?
Well, I'll tell you, this distillery industry is very capital intensive. The barrier to entry is money. And the equipment that you see when you visit our distillery is expensive to get into that. And we did not have traditional funding available to us, so we took some personal risk out there. I will say we did go to ASB TDC, and I full, wholeheartedly agree because they will help you push that business plan to the level that the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed. So when you do sit in front of a financial institution, you've already been asked the tough questions. You've already been asked who are your customers. Everything about the business that you're entering into, you've been asked and try to answer those questions. So for us, we went in it sort of non-traditionally financially. Clearly, I didn't have a finance background. I had an engineering and manufacturing background. And fortunate for us, when you have a family business, everybody's bringing something different. My son brought this whole marketing and social media and that experience. My other son is just structured. It's crazy how different your kids are, right? He's so structured and disciplined and fits well with that manufacturing. My wife, the whole HR, and I mean, you really have to know who's going to be doing what. And I remember having this meeting. She called and said, "We're finna get some role clarity and understand who's supposed to be doing what." And then for the finance piece that we didn't know, we had to seek some outside people who could help us. And it wasn't the first one. I think we may have gotten through 3 different people until we got to the right one. But find someone that knows your business, you can trust, and can help you navigate some of these headwinds that you're going to face with finances. You're going to invest in some things that don't go well. All right, how do you maximize getting out of that and still keep your business and keep yourself sane? But then how do you decide where you're going to invest your money? Right now, we're in need of a barrel house. And, we pour barrels, and those barrels sell almost as quickly as we pour them. Well, I didn't put enough barrels away 3 years ago. So now I need to put barrels away, and we're looking to structure a finance deal that says, I don't want to give away my company, but I know that when I fill that barrel is worth so many dollars. Who's interested in investing with me that I don't give away the equity, but also it's almost like a partnership deal. So you have to get creative around finances and lean into some people who have expertise that you don't have.
That's good. That's good. Outside help, but I love the fact that you guys started inside first. You looked at your children and they had different talents that they brought to the table. Your wife had a talent that she brought to the table. You had a talent that you brought to the table. You utilized all of those inside resources that you know that you can trust and depend on because this is a family thing. And
Can we
so-
borrow one of your sons for marketing?
Yeah, and then that's the other thing too. You lean on people that you know. If you're thinking about going into entrepreneurial, if you want to own your own business, you lean on the people that you know. There are people within your circle, your family circle, your immediate family circle, your extended family circle, then your friends, all of those people. He went deep in his family circle first before he stepped outside because you got to make sure that you're paired with the right people. So that is very much important. So, Jacinda, how do you blend tradition with technology? He talked about having moved from a farmer to using sweet potatoes to make your spirits, and then moving from there, you just automated with a new machine that you bought, Harvey, that is, I'm assuming, changing how you are doing what you do, making your spirits. So, Jacinda, how do you blend tradition, the normal tradition catering business that you started, and now you've expanded to Aretha's Beverages, and you're looking to expand even more with that? So, how did you bring in technology, thereby ensuring that the legacy stays alive while embracing the future?
Bringing young folks, bringing in my little cousins, my niece, my nephew, bringing them in
Utilizing
a
family.
little closer. Yeah, understanding, looking at trends, and just, I mean, looking at trends. We're a beverage company, and what was good to my grandma and them wasn't always good to everybody in the current time when I introduced it in 2017. And so, again, our beverages are classic, southern, and refreshing, but also inspired by Aretha. And so, being inspired, I was inspired by what was out there. Her, the basis of all her products were herb-based products. Whatever God gave, put in the earth, is what she had to use to create with. So you still take that same concept, like, what else you got over here, Lord? So we got basil, we have thyme, we have rosemary. How you gonna work that? So, just infusing different herbs and, whatever is the new thing, but still a classic thing, a little touch of classic. So just being aware.
And the base being what Grandma Aretha did in her kitchen. I love that. I love that. So, this is a question for anybody. In a culture of flash and flex, how do you stay grounded in purpose and aligned with your values as you grow? We all know what flash and flex is. I mean, it's all over social media every day. Flashing that money, flashing them bags, all of that. Making sure everybody understand that you got the bag, even though you might not have nothing in the bag. So, in, in an environment of where that is the norm, where everybody is trying to flex on everybody else and show all of the things that they've acquired, how do you stay grounded in the purpose of your businesses and aligned with your values as you grow?
I think it's just a mindset, right? Those things just aren't important. Like Harvey said, like we all like a bit of luxury, right? But flashing it and going on social media and say, hey, I'm, here doing this or have this, that's not important to us. And I think just really pouring that not only my mom's poured that to one because she's not technology savvy anyway, so I don't think she has Facebook, but but for us, when you have purpose and your purpose is and your mission and your purpose doesn't align with it, you don't even pay attention to it, right? That's just not who we are. And not to say that there's anything wrong with it. I look at the flashy and the fabulous on social media, and it's great, but it's just not us and who we are. And so I think if you're just not those people, you don't subscribe to it.
But then what advice would you give? Because in this generation, you said that your nephews are involved in the business and they're growing up in the era of social media is all over and a huge influence in their lives. So what advice would you give to your nephews who are naturally a part of your business because that's the way you raised them from toddlers running around the metroplex when they were little bitty until now where they're working day in and day out within the business and they're going to grow up in the business. Some of them are going to probably step into roles that you and your brother are in right now, and you guys have moved to the roles that your parents are in. So how do you keep them grounded and not focused on the flash and the flex?
You have to normalize conversations with them. And to be honest with you, I picked my nephew up from UCA last night and brought him into work, and we had that conversation all the way to work. And we were just kind of talking about his plans. What does he want to do? Where does he want to be? And just, he showed me some of his social media, and I keep up with all of that. Right. And so when I see something, not saying that they're perfect on social media, when I see something, I call them and say, hey, what made you post that? And then talk them through it. Like you can't beat them down and with what they see that's popular out here. But having those conversations and normalizing those conversations with them that inspires them to think bigger is what you do.
Oh, that's good. I like that. I like think bigger.
I want to add on that. I think she's absolutely right. Having intentional conversations about the flash and the future. Um, I remember bringing my son down to Helena when I was looking to open that business. And he's sitting over here and he's 22 years old and I'm thinking about opening, starting this business. And he's looking at these dilapidated buildings and homes and just driving through this area. And I knew what was going on in his head. Like, what? Now, we've lived in Chicago, Dallas, Cincinnati, Florida. We've lived and we had them in the suburbs. I get it. So he's looking at these neighborhoods, and I'm thinking, so what are you thinking, son? He said, well, I'm just wondering what we got going on here. And I said, listen, think about what you see here 10 years with investment and what this place will look like after that investment. So try and look through a lens of what it will be and what it can be versus what it is right now. So those intentional conversations make a difference, I think.
Most definitely. I have two children that are adults now. My daughter's 30, my son is 31. And my husband and I, we wanted to make sure that we were the loudest voices in their heads. And so, with us being the loudest voices in their heads and our influence and our trying to stay level headed and pass that on to them, neither one of our kids are about that flash and flex, except they grew up in a time of social media too, as well. And they see all that. And like you said, like we've all said, we all like nice things, but there's a time and a place for everything. So. I love that. Investing, that's what I hear you saying. Both of you guys, everybody on the stage, investing in your nieces, your nephews, your children, your neighbors' kids, because this is about community for us. It's always been. Jacinda talked about it with her grandmother's Aretha's Beverages. The Aretha's Beverages is because, and I love the story. I want you to tell the story. she's like, she gonna make me tell this story. I want you to tell the story about how one connection within the community opened the door for you guys. I heard this story and it just resonated with me. So if you'll tell that story about your grandmother and the
Yes,
community connection.
that story. Yes. The story of when my grandmother, she was employed at a school that was directly across from her home. It was the elementary school, Gillum Elementary, in the Granite Mountain area. And back then, she was a cafeteria worker. She did that, and that's when they used to make, food from scratch. Nothing came in already just heat and warm and served to the kids. But her specialty was cinnamon rolls. And there was a lady, she had made cinnamon rolls for the kids that day at the school, as the story goes. And she went home, because she was literally across the street from her home. Went home. A lady named Lillian Springer had come to the school, and she said, "What is that smell? It smells so good." And I believe Miss Springer tells the story that there was a cinnamon roll somewhere, and she tasted it because she smelled it, and then she tasted it. She's like, "Where is this woman? I must find this woman." And at the time, Miss Lillian Springer was the socialite, I guess. She was it. If there was a real housewife of Little Rock, she would be the head housewife, okay? Along with Gloria Love and a few more people. But so they said, "Oh, Miss Jones made that." And they said, "Well, how can I find her?" She said, "She's right there across the street." So she goes across the street, left her kids at the school. That was the purpose of being there, and came across the street and found her, and that connection just started. And with that, she just, she just started doing food for her, and that just kind of led to other things, and just got expanded. So
Yeah.
that's the story.
That's the story
And
about and the story is it's about community.
it's about the community.
Community in your own house, community outside of your house, like you said, in your yard, on your street, on your block, in your neighborhood. It's about community. So as we wrap up, I want to ask a question, and I want each of you guys to answer this question. What advice would you give to first generation entrepreneurs who are working hard to build something worthy of being passed down? Teresa?
I know it's always easy for us to just jump into something and start it and build the plane as we're flying it, because that's what a lot of us as entrepreneurs do. But really take time to plan it out. I'm in an awkward position with one of my with our school, I should say, and I'm really being intentional about planning it out before going forward, right? With a proposal that I received. So I always say, if you have to build it as you fly it, build it as you fly. But if you can plan it out, right, get the right people in place, the finance people, your thought partners, your community, your family, like really build a team and plan this thing out, then you're ahead of the game instead of running behind it trying to catch up and build it.
Harvey?
I like that a lot. Plan things. I continued to work my job when I started this business, and I did that for 3 years in, and that was a lot. Working full time, and then building this from the ground up. So it was risky, but also had that. But when it came time for me to really jump off that cliff and say, I'm all in on this, my wife told me, she said, "Okay, I know it may be a scary thing. You've planned, we've done the right things, we're putting the right pieces together. What's the worst that could happen?" And I started thinking about it. I guess it fails. It doesn't work. She said, "Okay, then you're still young. You can go to work. It's not the end of you. It's not the end of us. So let's go." So to me, that gave me some confidence and reassurance that you've put the plans together. Because I will analyze something to death. And I came home one day and she had it in my closet, let your faith be stronger than your fear or something like that. And I'm like, oh Lord, what's she talking about? But it's
a woman.
at some point, yeah, at some point you do have to take the steps, surround yourself with people who are going to be able to help you, and have people on your team who are going to challenge you. Because if everybody's telling you, man, that's great, that's great, that's great, yeah, they could be leading you down a path that somebody should have said, hey, you may want to look into that. So good people that you can trust, good people who are going to challenge you, but at some point you got to take the leap.
Jacinda?
What about next generation? Never be afraid to take your little bit. Take your little bit and run with it. I often think of, forgive me, Lord, did he have 2 loaves? No, he had 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes, right? Okay, okay, all right. And Jesus said, give me that. He took his little bit and he fed so many. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, forgive me, Lord, again, Elijah told the woman who needed some money to pay some folk off. She said, she don't have no money. He said, girl, you got it. Take your little bit. She said, a little bit of what? I have nothing. I got to feed my kids. You got that little bit of oil right there. So go borrow some vases. You put people in your life, because she was able to go to somebody's house and say, let me borrow that vase, let me borrow that vase, let me borrow that vase, let me borrow. They said, yes, yes, yes. And with that, every time she poured in, that little bit, again, take your little bit and make it work with you. Make it work for you.
That's a
all I'm
word.
saying.
That's a
All right.
word.
That's it.
Amen. So I hear your advice is plan, get the right people in your life, and then take your little bit and run with it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So y'all got a plan out there, entrepreneurs. And one last question. I want to ask this question to Mama Timmons.
Woo! Stand up, Mom.
Stand up, Mama Timmons. If your legacy could speak for itself 50 years from now, what would you want it to say?
Um, through my lifetime, I've been very intentional about serving God, serving family, serving my community. But I want to make sure that I can create the stability for my family in order to allow them to serve anyone else. So that's why when the decisions I made to buy or rent, if I keep renting, what's there left for my kids when I'm gone? I want stability where they can either do what I'm doing, do what their parents are doing. They need to have a choice. So I want to make sure that my children and their children's children have the ability to either come to the business or not. We have I have 3 adult kids. I have 4 grandkids. 3 of them are in college, but all of them, even the baby, comes and work with us. You know, they need to know all parts of the business. We need to invest in our own kids first, and teach them what we can. So at the point they can either come or goal, but they have something to start with. And that's it. We need to invest in our own people.
Amen. We do need to invest in our own. Okay, so we're going to take questions from the floor. If anybody would like to ask our panelists any questions, for our panel? Kim.
Hello, I'm Stan
Hello.
Smith, the owner of TogetherHub.us. That's not .com, that's .us, TogetherHub.us. I commend you guys, and I love this topic, legacy over luxury. I have a serious question that I want you to dig into, and that question is, we talk about bringing our kids along in our business. Great. How do you do that? Are you paying them as a role, whatever role they may be playing, that they're taking up? Or are they coming in and volunteering, putting in that sweat equity to eventually be part and owner of that family business?
Yeah, so my, we, we're paying them now. It didn't start that way. When the youngest one was with us, he's the one who we asked to help us start this business, get this business off the ground. And we were not able to pay him. I wasn't paying myself, but he was at home. He was eating. We had a car. So he was living. And I know what that was like because I grew up in my dad's house and my mom and dad's house, and we ate. And we were, I didn't know I was poor until I moved away from, down south. But after a year, we were able to pay him, not what he was worth, but we were able to start paying him. It's just recently we've gotten to the point where we're paying really a competitive salary. He can go from here to, St. Louis or wherever and make the money he's making with us now, but it did not start that way. But we had to have those intentional conversations about that. Like, this is an investment, us in you, and you in us, and all of us in this business. So that's a real conversation to have about the early sacrifices, because that will get you the gain later on. It's not right now.
And that's the same for us. Again, my nephews and nieces grew up in the business. They weren't always paid, but there were always conversations, right? And so now that they're adults, we do pay them for working, but it didn't start off that way. And they understand sweat equity, right? And what you have to put in to get out.
Good morning. Thank you for being here. My question is for the legacy aspect of it. My parents, they have some businesses and stuff, and they want to pass them down, and sometimes we don't always have interests that align. But what about those who maybe do not have children but still want a legacy? How does that look for, I guess, a non-traditional legacy building company? What types of ways do you, suggest that they build legacy?
That's a great question. My great-grandfather sharecropped that land, never owned it. His hope was to own that farm. His son, my granddad, sharecropped that land, hoped to own it, bought the farm out of sharecropping. Not in the way you and I would go buy a piece of land, but he got that land. My dad started farming, and he only wanted one thing, and that was something to pass to his kids in that generation. And he was able to pass, that vegetable business to us and the land. I want my kids to have that land and this business that we're building. My father-in-law told me, listen, I know you and my daughter are building, are starting this business. Here was the advice he gave me. Don't open a business that somebody doesn't want to buy the day you open it up. And then you can sell that business to whoever you want to and do maybe create your own legacy of something else. But start something that you want, you enjoy, you love, and you have a passion for, and the legacy will come. You may not even know what that is yet, but it will come to the next generation, and you get to pass that on to whoever you want to pass that on to. That's my thought on it.
I just feel like, God already knows what's going to happen. So if he put it in you, guess what? He going to keep pushing it out of you through somebody else if you don't have anybody directly to pass it on to. So it's there, and he already got it lined up for you. So just go for it.
And legacy extends beyond just your bloodline.
It does.
That's the big thing. Legacy can extend beyond your bloodline. I have 2 children, and my mom has 3 girls, and my mom worked in corporate America. She has a younger daughter that does what she does, and but it wasn't a business. It was a concept or hard work. All of those things are part of the legacy, or how you operate in faith, how you operate in your houses of worship. My daughter is a nurse. I take that legacy is coming from her grandmother because her grandmother, her dad's mom, was a nurse. And so I take that legacy. But the thing that she garnered from me and my side of the family is how we operate in the church. And she is an entrepreneur today because she started a women's group, and they pay dues. And so I guess it's not a job, it's an organization. They pay dues, and they meet several times throughout the year to have activities, to do activities. And so she started that in the city that she is residing in right now. And that's just a legacy that she saw. I had a girls group at our church called Girl Chat, and we would meet and we would talk. And she was there for that. And so that's a legacy that I passed on to her. My son is a musician. He didn't know that his dad wanted to be a musician. And my son is a professional musician, and then the pandemic hit. He needed a job. His dad worked in IT. He saw how it provided for his family, and he works in IT as a hustle his entrepreneurial business. So legacy isn't just for your bloodline. Legacy it could be people in the community. That's why I like the story of Jacinda's Aretha's Beverages. It started in her grandmother's house, that 1,200 square foot house, and expanded into the yard and across the street and the neighborhood, and now the city, and now the state, and now the country. And so that, to me, that's legacy.
Happy Saturday. I'm Tracy Shine. Great panel. I have a question. Can you talk a little bit about insurance, taxes, and permits? Talk a little bit about your business with insurance, taxes, and permits to help sustain your legacy.
You gotta have it. Gotta have it, and you gotta pay it. And staying up on all of that. We have someone that when it's time to pay our annual insurances, our workman's comp, all of that, we have someone that says, hey, it's time. Let's go ahead and get that paid. So always remember, when you start building, there are dues and fees that you have to pay. There's taxes, there's workman's comp if you have employees. Like there's a list of things. So just making sure and understand you gotta have it and you have to pay it.
I mean, the spirits industry is highly regulated, so we had to get federal license first, then state license, and then locally, I didn't know this, I mean, a local business could shut you down from having a distillery in their community. If they don't want a distillery in their community, they could have shut us down. I mean, as bad as the pandemic was, fortunate for us, when I had to go before city council, one of those was Zoom, because it was during the pandemic. So they didn't really give me the kind of pushback that they may have normally given me, and it wasn't because a distillery is a bad thing. They just had no understanding about it. And now they, like, man, this is good in our community. It's starting to build business. It's creating jobs. It's bringing people to the town that would have not normally come. But yeah, insurance is high in that building. It has to be paid. The taxes on alcohol is very expensive. That has to be paid. The workers' comp insurance for labor has to be paid. All of that has to be kept up with. And if you don't have the expertise, there are some people out there that can help you get through that. For us, initially, it was me and my wife doing the grind and getting that done. And to some extent, we still are, just so you have a pulse on what's going on in your own business.
Last one.
All right, so I just want to say good morning and excellent panel. I have one question. So I felt like most of this conversation was towards parents, mothers, fathers, people who've had businesses for many years. But the thing is, I'm 17, I just started a project, and I don't think I have kids. So what would you say? What advice would you give me in terms of starting legacy with my own projects?
What advice would you give him starting a legacy with his projects? He doesn't have kids, and so he's not a parent, but he wants to know what advice you would give him with his projects that he just started and how to start a legacy.
So is your project or your business, do you have people that are involved in it with you, or is it just you? Is everything's you? He said, "Yep."
Yeah, yes.
Okay. So as you're starting your business, that's not unusual, right? A lot of times it is just you, like you're everything. I think when we started ours, we were the janitors, we were, we opened and closed, we did everything. So that's a part of it, and I commend you for being so young and even started. So let's give yourself
Thank you.
a hand for even
Thank you.
starting. Um, do you have people around you that support you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So do you tap on those resources to help you in growing your business?
Absolutely. I definitely talk to like people in my family, friends to actually get things started because starting a profitable project was extremely difficult. So that is, yes.
Okay. So so you're the start of the legacy,
Yes.
right? And so the important thing is to bring in people that you trust, right?
Yes.
That can help you take your business and grow it. And like Bridget said before, legacy doesn't have to be family, right? Legacy can be your team. Right now, I have the Timmons Arts Foundation, and in building and continuing that organization, my executive director right now isn't family, right? He's an employee, but he is continuing the legacy of the Timmons Arts Foundation, right? So it doesn't necessarily have to be family, but you are the start of it, and it's going to take some time. And don't just bring your people, anybody on your team, thinking I have to have people, right? But make sure you're very intentional about who you bring in your space to help you grow your dream. Okay?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And congratulations on starting your.
Congratulations again.
So I just want to say thank you to all of our panelists. We appreciate your transparency. We appreciate your humor, and we appreciate your advice. We are grateful that you guys could join us and with this panel today and share your experiences with each of us. This has been really, really good. I hope that you guys gained something from it and that you learned something from it and that you take away as you continue this Welcome to Wealth Street journey, that you take away one truth, that real wealth isn't about luxury, it's about longevity. Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions or need anything, please reach out to either me or April. and you'll get it in your email. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.